So hello everyone, this is your Krishna from Women Today YouTube channel. So in this channel we have been interviewing many women entrepreneurs and working women across different cities in India. We are just traveling to different cities and we are doing offline interviews, and we are also doing online interviews across different cities in India and also across different countries in the world. So today right now we are in Pune, and in front of us is Samidha Kolhatkar, and she is a yoga coach, holistic wellness expert. She is the founder of Yogsutras, and right now we are in Pune and we are in Aund in her yoga studio, and I welcome you, Samidha Kolhatkar ma'am, to this Women Today YouTube channel. So please kindly introduce about yourself, about the kind of professional work that you're doing to the audience who are watching this interview right now, ma'am.
A privilege to be here. Thank you, Krishna Kumar, for this opportunity. I would like to start by saying that my journey has been passion to profession, and not as simple as it may sound, because I did not start as a yoga coach. I was in the corporate in the midst of all the challenges that all of us keep facing in bouts of stress, anxiety, targets, pressure to perform, and so on and so forth. And that is the time when I got introduced to yoga, and the part was that I never rushed my learning, because it was imbibing the way of living called as yoga. So it was not with the intention that I wanted to be a yoga coach. It was with an intention of experiencing yoga, imbibing yoga in my own way of living. And over long years, it's been almost 20 plus years that I am into living this yoga. And it was at a point where I realized that I saw the changes, when I saw certain transformations, convinced beyond belief. I said, this is something that I could enable and facilitate for other people. So after being a student for 12 years, I took the first step of doing the teacher's training course, which was at a time when I had already experienced, or I was doing yoga for 12 years. So for me to learn as being a teacher from being a student was quite interesting, because there was a whole lot of experience already that I carried as a student when I was learning to be a teacher. And from there on, it gave me a level up in the way that I could facilitate sessions, I could curate, I could design classes, workshops. And it came to a point where I decided that it was going to be my full-time profession. And I also would like to say with a lot of emphasis that Masters in Yoga was a game changer in my journey. Because it was not just about the hours on the mat, but it was about learning ancient intelligence, not artificial intelligence. So this ancient intelligence has brilliant systems where even if your habits fail, they will hold you up. And I think to be able to take this forward, what gave me the strength was my own experience in the corporate, where I know that there are long working hours, everybody's pressed of time, and still they have to fit something which is in between these busy hours. So I think coming up with systems, coming up with this, what suits the modern life, is the micro practices, being able to bring in those small rituals which can fit into before meeting, after meeting, midday breaks, a post-work relaxation. So the ancient intelligence also allows this fitment of these practices into today's and modern requirements. And I think I feel truly privileged to be able to work in this domain, where to be able to take this intelligence to today's modern living.
That's a great introduction, ma'am. Of course, who has an experience of around 20 years. Of course, first 12 years was as a student, and then you just moved on to a different kind of upper level, like you're the teacher teaching students about yoga, because you have been into this, you have been making yourself structured in such a way that you go to each and everything like in a very structured manner. You become like a yoga coach after you went into this teacher training sessions. So that's a great introduction from you, ma'am. So yes, ma'am, being a yoga teacher, the very first thing which arises in every parent mind, of course, nowadays parents are forcing the kids to have kind of yoga sessions, because they after 40s or 50s, they're feeling like, okay, why my body hasn't kind of doing things whatever we wanted to do. So at that time they'll be thinking like, okay, if I would have been doing this right from age 5 or age like at least like 15, I would have made myself, my body to listen to the words whatever I'm just wanted to do. So right now, the very first thing is they wanted stress, anxiety to disappear whenever they coming and having a session with yoga teacher. So tell us about how do you actually help students, how do you actually help people to overcome anxiety, fear, stress and everything. And also on the other side, most of people, I just introduce you as a yoga coach, holistic wellness expert. So most people will be think like, okay, yoga coach is yoga coach, and what do you mean by holistic wellness? That's a term which most of people they'll not be able to kind of understand. So tell us about holistic kind of things. And the last part is wellness. Of course, we should have wellness in life. Wellness is something like which each and every people will be knowing, but how do you actually incorporate this yoga coaching, holistic wellness, and about the stress, anxiety, and each and everything. So tell us as a combination and tell us about the kind of experience you had over the past 20 years, ma'am.
A beautiful question put by Krishna Kumar. So let me start by saying that yoga is a way of living, it's a journey. And yoga being a way of living, it is not about the physical practice on the mat. It begins, the first limb begins where you are using the guideline to conduct yourself for the outer world called yamas. You then come to the second limb, which is niyamas, where it's the inner self guidance for your inner journey. Then is when you come to the most known part of yoga, which is asanas, where you physically move your body. Then comes the fourth limb, pranayam, where you work with your breath, the prana. That brings you and makes you eligible for the next step of pratyahara, where it is withdrawal of your senses. Moving further, it is dharana. It is a practice which is for higher focus, and most of the times meditation is more known, which is dhyana, but dharana becomes the preparation for dhyan. So from dhyan, we then move further to samadhi, but dharana actually prepares you for the dhyan, and from there you progressively move, which none of us really will get there, but this is the 8 limbs that create a way of living. Now, why I call this holistic is because only creating a physical endurance or creating a physical strength does not become a way of clearing up stress or resolving anxiety. It's extremely important that we have a way of living which in itself, which has an inner mechanism of being able to dissolve what are the triggers for stress and anxiety. So I think yoga in itself is a very holistic way of living. It's only that most of the times we are used to cutting short the steps, and probably we are aware of some of the more popular parts of yoga. So that is the reason when I said ancient intelligence is because it has a complete way of letting you live a life of fulfillment. And I think each step is built over the previous. So there is a reason why there is a sequence in the way it moves from the first limb to the last limb. Now when we speak of today's times, yes, I fully agree that because of too much on the plate, because of so much of everything, so much of choice, overload of information, I think it's very natural of all of us to be a part of this feeling sometimes overwhelmed, sometimes overloaded, with that constant need of updation, with that constant change happening around you, and to be a part of this over-competitive world, it definitely is going to result into bringing in these feelings. And I think if we have a solid system to be a part of us, which keeps us centered, I think we will pass through these external situations, because what yoga brings in is what you have in control is your inner self. There is no control on the external world. And if you have created that inner strength, I think whatever happens externally, you will carry yourself with that kind of balance, that kind of calmness, that kind of place which allows you to pass through different experiences of life, such that some might be very, very good and some may not be as good. So that striking that balance, that being centered in your life is extremely important, because that is what keeps us flowing through different experiences that will keep coming to us. So I think having yoga as a part of our life, or rather living yoga, would mean that we are able to steer through all of these symptoms when we feel overwhelmed, we feel overloaded. And if we are able to bring that as early in our age, I think we are creating that, I would say, the resilient self, that inner self, which is going to be based on strength, which is going to be based on the balance. And I think we should be able to bring in the best version of ourselves. I would like to relate this to my corporate experience, because having lived that life for long years, I can resonate with the feeling that when we feel simply the need to be able to perform, to be able to feel in sync with our roles, in sync with what we are supposed to bring as results. And this changes over time, because it's obviously going to be different business conditions, it's going to be different environments, it's going to be different roles and responsibilities with us. And I can say this, that when I look at yoga and how it looks so integral, is it's not just bringing in only the very transactional benefits, like the physical fitness, for instance. Indeed, it's one of the very important part, because if you feel strong, if you feel capable, you're obviously going to be able to perform, you're obviously going to be able to live through the different and difficult schedules, etc. But I would also like to point out the part where yoga is a differentiator when compared to other practices is, it is an enabler of the state of mind. Because what happens in the mind is what is manifested into the physical body. So if we are able to bring that control on the mind, if we are able to keep the mind in the best condition, I think that is what becomes instrumental in living a life which is personally and professionally fulfilling. So I think yoga is extremely important to be able to create that mindset, that state of mind which is uninterrupted, when you feel absolutely present here, now. Because when you are in the present moment, you're always going to be able to engage, involve yourself and give in your absolute best, because you're focused, you're there in that place, in that moment, in that experience. And I think here I would like to mention this again, that this system, I would call it, this way of living yoga, has this absolutely illustrated in the way how it is inducted in our day-to-day living. It's only a matter of being available for this and wanting to explore this. So even if we speak of meditation or if we speak of pranayam, these are the different limbs, and each of this limb is finally preparing us for the best version that we bring. So whether it's the practice on the mat, which is actually increasing the awareness, it's enhancing our ability, making this entire body our intelligence systems, where your awareness comes to a level where you're able to read what is not written, you're able to see what is not just readable, you're able to feel what is not essentially just narrated. So I think this heightening your awareness, raising your awareness is the game changer. So if we are able to see these aspects of yoga and not just look at the physical practice where we are on the mat, I think it fits into every person's life. And the more that we are able to bring it early, I would say it has tremendous benefits of us being able to sail through the different challenges, not just externally, but even internally. And hence, I would say that explore yoga, explore all the limbs of yoga, and not restrict it just or limit yoga to being a physical practice or a fitness regime. I think corporate wellness is something very, very important because most of us spend our time at our workplaces. And this experience where I have facilitated for groups which are as small as 50 and as large as 500 and more is to be able to take this ancient intelligence to larger groups and larger sizes, because it is important for them to experience, to be able to commit for further practices. It is also that in the corporate ambience, the sessions are curated, which are smaller in size, which are very, very practical, which are doable in the premises as is, where is, without having to put any extra preparation. And they fit in the day of the working schedule. So I think this is extremely important, and most of the corporates should take this up by putting in some form of wellness, whether it is even if it is as 2 times a month or probably whatever the frequency that works for a corporate, but get people to practice wellness while they are in their workspace, because that actually motivates them to take this further, and then they would commit for probably the longer practices. But I think corporates can make a change here. I would also specifically like to mention the places like hospitals where the doctors, the paramedical staff, and the other teams work under constant pressure, and it is so important for them to have this some space, some corner where the doctors, the nurses, the paramedical staff can come. They can have some kind of a reset practices, some micro practices, some rituals which allow them to again kind of bounce back with that energy, to again kind of take that whole, I would say, exhaustion away from the body. And again, because they have long working hours, so they need to be at their work for really long hours and with constant pressure on them. So I think very, very important if we are able to bring this. And another segment where we are able to induct in the growing children. Because I think schools and colleges, some of them are definitely making an attempt. And I feel fully committed to this cause where if we bring this early in life, then it's not an effort. It's a part of them. They will always find time. They will always find space. And they will always make that as a part of their living.
Yes, ma'am. So we have discussed a lot about yoga. So now we are just coming to the classes. So most of people will be, whenever we just visit a yoga class, they'll be thinking like, okay, we are just going to have an offline session. But nowadays, in the digital world, everything is online. Even we are just teaching online yoga classes. So tell us about your typical online yoga classes. How do you actually conduct it? And what's the duration about it? So explain about it, ma'am.
So to answer this absolutely precisely, I have an online model. Like you rightly said, that we have to have an online version. So for 2026, I have this new program that I have created, which is Yog Parikrama, and which is designed with the concept of building it for 12 months. So in each month, there is a theme, and that is compounded with benefits as it moves and progresses into the month next and the next and further. So which means when we have 12 months committed for this journey, we can look back at the compounded benefits of what we have done over 12 months. So for the first time that, while I've always had an online version, but this is a 12-month journey, very specially curated with 12 themes. And over and above, yes, I also have online sessions, which could be sometimes workshops. They are very thematic, specific. They could be something like a reset ritual for hormonal balance, or it is something to help us with metabolic activity, for a happy gut. So these are specific for the health conditions. I love bringing up therapy for the sessions because they are with a specific routine for a health condition and to improve. So the results become also very measurable and they can improve the condition of the person. Then I would also like to mention that in the corporates, it's not a possibility to have this luxury of time and making a setup available for people. So various models which are curated for a specific corporate can align to their ideology, which means that there will be micro practices, there could be 5-minute rituals, there could be before meeting, after meeting, mid breaks, or after the end of the working day, a relaxation session to just de-stress, and so on and so forth. So this becomes something which is very, very doable, practical in today's life. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great thing that you wanted to tell people about the 2026 kind of works that you have planned for your professional things. And also, you are just speaking about the wellness of people and the health management. So, most of the people, whenever they come to a yoga person, the thing that will be running in their mind is very simple: I have to lose my weight. So, the weight management part comes in, and also with the flexibility and the fitness. So, how do you make sure that whatever people regarding of the ageless, irrespective of the age category, a kid may be coming, or an old person will be coming, or a middle-aged person will be coming. So how do you help them undergo weight loss, do weight management, and make the body flexible by just doing your yoga?
So to answer this, I would say that whenever there's somebody walking into, it's very important to understand the objectives of that person. And what you rightly said, that weight management becomes extremely attractive because that is something which is commonly seen across age groups. I would say bringing yoga would also mean some correction in the lifestyle. So it is also using the awareness of what is it that is causing that weight gain, or this I would say as what is that part of our living which is contributing to this excess weight. So there could be correcting into eating habits. It could also mean timings. It could also mean what we eat, how much we eat, when we eat. Apart from this, I think they could also bring practices which are very specific to increase the metabolic rate, introduce practices which are probably in the morning. There could be something which is a small practice which could be brought into at the end of the day. So I think bringing this awareness into the entire life, because if somebody is having a job which is very sedentary, which means that person has very little or limited physical movement, could also be required to do something which is maybe at the end of the day before he or she finishes the day, or is working in shifts, then that has to be taken into consideration. And I think the Masters in Yoga, which I mentioned earlier, gave a very good introduction to this beautiful system called Ayurveda. So using that part of Ayurveda to bring in that what we call as dinacharya, which means the way you conduct your life daily, and making these changes would also mean that you're able to work on yourself holistically.
That's a kind of technical thing moving on. But also on the other hand, most of the people, whenever they do some yogasanas, they need to undergo a proper nutrition. So tell us, what should we intake whenever we do yogasanas, and tell us about the most common nutrition practices that you do in your regular life so that you stay fit and you teach others yoga.
I'll just add one more thing to this. Yoga also has different experiences you could ask for. So when you're talking of Hatha Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, you also can look at Vinyasa, which is in flow. Then there is Power Yoga, which has branched out of the ancient system and which is adding that athletic part to it. Then you have Yin Yoga, wherein you are using this for recovery and healing. So I think it's also important to know that most of the times when people classify yoga as when you're old and you want to move little and you just want to relax is when you do yoga. I would like to request people to actually experience yoga in its all forms. So if you're looking at building your core strength, yoga will be with you. When you're looking at building your upper body strength, your lower body strength, building your flexibility, which means it increases your mobility, your range, your ability to for physical endurance, yoga is with you. So most of the sports people who are serious sports people will always have yoga as a part of their regime. Then coming to the question that you mentioned about nutrition, I think yoga would always talk of eating simple food. Ayurveda is a huge promoter of eat what grows around you. Keep it more fresh, keep it broken down into the quantity, of course, into your meals. Keep it more, I would say, home cooked. Of course, not always very easy to follow, but we can at least bring in that awareness that even if you're eating out a lot, we try to make it once in a while and not make it like our daily practice. We also try to eat foods which are from the region that we live in, is for the reason that they are lesser with preservatives, and so they would always agree more to your body than eating something which is grown 1,000 kilometers away and which is obviously preserved and brought to your place. So I think these simple things also we can take into consideration is the weather. So seasonality has a lot of role how the body behaves, and so does the nutrition. So I think these simple things, if you can imbibe into your dinacharya, your daily living, I think they get you ready.
Of course, now I understand why most of people tell us which city you are, eat food which grows over there. It's very simple, ma'am, because as you told, we have to put some preservatives to move some good foods to other countries, to other places, to other cities. So I think it's better to have foods which is actually having a good lifespan. So that's why most of people tell others to eat food what's near you. That's a great kind of nutrition intake kind of guidance, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Now tell us about your specializations in holistic wellness, like prenatal yoga, therapeutic yoga. There is a lot of yogas which is categorized in different levels. So tell us about your specializations in holistic wellness, ma'am.
When we speak of therapeutic yoga, here we are talking of conditions where you will find them across your friends and family, whether it is diabetes, so to say, one of the commonly found condition, call it hypertension, call it other metabolic conditions. We have gut health, we have knee replacement, we have hip replacement, we have arthritis. Now all of these need sessions which are taking into account what can be done and what should be avoided. So I think having that information, not just theoretically, but in practice, in consultation with the doctor, whoever the person is having his treatment done from, I think can be a very good joint effort of enhancing the condition of the person. We can also include prenatal, because I think that is not what you can classify under a health issue. It is actually a phase. And if yoga is also brought into that condition, it's only going to enhance the experience of the person. So it's very important that a person is able to bring this condition as a part of the discussion and create a session or a class which is to address and bring enhancement into.
Yeah, being a yoga teacher for many years, you must have seen many many successful histories from people who get trained from you. So tell us about your successful testimonials, that whatever you wanted to share about the success stories of people that you have coached in yoga sessions, ma'am.
To start with, it's a beautiful feeling to be a part of many people's journey, I must say. And for that, it also means that it is important to connect with the person, what his or her objectives are in life. And they may not just be wellness objectives. So it's like creating that person's readiness to explore yoga, to be able to enhance in his or her life, to be able to pursue what he or she would like to do. Something which comes to my mind instantly is somebody who is not motivated to kind of commit to any kind of regime. I think I really have a few examples where I was able to at least be able to motivate them to make a start and keep being with them so that it becomes from what is an effort to becoming a ritual and then finally their habit. Then I also have experienced very specific health conditions like somebody with replaced knees and who had not sat on the floor for long years. I'm not saying that we go against what the doctor has prescribed, like folding the knees, of course not. We don't do that. We avoid everything that has been specified as a no-no. But at the same time, we are able to enhance their daily living by increasing the body's balance, by increasing the core strength, by increasing their ability to move physically, so increasing their mobility. I think this, another which comes is increasing the lung capacity. So when people have had conditions, whether it's asthma or any other condition where the lung capacity has got reduced, I think being able to up that is one more, I would say, feather in the cap. Then another could be also where anxiety and stress with younger children, or not necessary with any specific mental disorder, but it's surely the growing years, the teenage, and being able to help them imbibe yoga at such an early age, and they are feeling more settled, more calm, and they feel more present. I think that's always been very, very gratifying to be a part of this with somebody who is as old as 75 plus and still has this capability of living a complete professional and a personal life. I think it just makes me feel more and more happy.
Especially, I am wondering, I'm inspired by that story about increasing lung capacity. That's a great thing, ma'am, because air is very much important in our life, and bringing that in our life once again, it's a kind of great success testimonials. So that's a great thing, ma'am. And also, behind us there is a rope. So you also practice yoga with ropes. So tell us, how do you actually make sure that people come to you, they practice yoga with these ropes and make their body flexible? Because each and everything which we do as an exercise, we should make our body flexible. So tell us about these workouts, ma'am.
Okay, so here I will use the opportunity to say that traditionally, yoga was never with props. Yoga was not with what we see today, the accessories. But I must mention that the legend B.K. Iyengar Guruji was who introduced props is with the concept of letting every body type be able to do yoga, making them eligible. And more importantly, we are able to hold the poses for the required duration to bring in the desired effect, the impact. Yeah. So I think how it has graduated and progressed from then to now, this has been quite a journey, and hence you will see that this is one of the props which allows people to kind of do poses which normally they may have a little difficulty or they may not be able to hold for longer, which is desirable. So props become like your addition to your body, and they become like your extended body parts and allow you to get into a pose which might not be possible or which requires probably assistance. So with props, I think it allows us to get there. And it's also about sometimes bringing in the desired angles, bringing in the desired movement of the body, and hence it kind of creates more experience for all of us. Yeah.
Of course, when I was during my childhood days, I used to go yoga sessions. At that time, there was no any kind of properties to deal with. Of course, at that time we have to do every yoga asanas. It will be a little bit tough to do flexible, but thank God I was just having a very little age, so I can just be flexible. But at the time itself, during the first time, I felt very difficult to do some yoga poses. Mm-hmm. But right now, with the help of these kind of props, I think yoga is much more easier and widely it's available to a lot of people over here. That's a great thing, ma'am. So yeah, ma'am, we are just outside your office of Yogsutras by Samidha. So yeah, ma'am. Also tell us, if I want to register in your offline or online classes, what is the procedure so that I can enroll in your yoga classes, ma'am?
So let me first cover the offline. Offline, it is whoever is interested visits the studio. I try to understand their wellness objectives, and accordingly, they can join and hop on to the ongoing batches. And the batches are specially curated, which are smaller in size, so that I'm also able to give individual attention apart from it being a group class. And I try to bring in a variety of different forms of yoga, so which includes Ashtang, which includes Hatha, which includes Power Yoga, which includes Yin Yoga, so that it's experiential, and also pranayam chanting on certain days, so that it creates a more holistic experience also for the practitioners. For online, you could join the Yog Parikrama 2026, which is a 12-month thematic curated program, which is 12 gateways, 12 months, and 1 you. So that's the whole idea of the program, which allows you to actually go through the year of experience, and you can then measure your impact, because it's going to be 12 months of your commitment into the program.
Yeah.
And other programs like tomorrow, which is on the 21st of December, I have this webinar, which is to let you design your wellness journey in, or you can call it like your wellness direction in 2026.
Yeah, that's a great thing, ma'am. Also tell us, ma'am, is it about one-on-one coaching or is it like group coaching? And also tell us, how do you actually keep track on each and every individuals, because there is a lot of people coming and get trained over you. So how do you make sure that each and every individual you are just keeping a track and you help them, either it is on one-on-one coaching or it's on group coaching for yoga classes?
It's both. So there are group classes as well as there are one-on-one coachings also happening, because some of the health conditions, typically the therapeutic, are one-on-ones, because you cannot have one single program for a group. So there, if there is somebody working on a specific health condition like knee replacement or prenatal with the number of weeks of pregnancy, it will be one-on-one. And the group classes are typically which are not with any serious contraindications that I have to keep a note of, and I can facilitate the session for a group of 5, 6. It's usually smaller in case of studio. When it's outside the studio, it could be larger groups as well. And when you talk of tracking, it's typically I have a kind of a history that I put across together when the person has started, and the progress over the months. And then I am also able to enhance the practice once the person has moved up in his or her practice, where I can now make it more intense, or I can bring in the poses, the postures, the experience which is required. Or you can say that as the person becomes more and more familiar with the whole practice, he or she is able to take the next level or the intermediate level from beginners. Yeah.
So yeah, we have just talked a lot about yoga and everything. So via this interview, if there is any kind of message that you wanted to convey to the people who are watching this interview right now, what is that one particular message that you wanted to tell to the audience via this channel, ma'am?
I would like to say this, don't postpone yourself. So most of the times we have that habit of prioritizing everybody else. So this time, make yourself the most important project. And I feel that if you would want to be in that state where you are able to pursue what matters the most to you, it is extremely important to keep filling your cup, because you cannot pour out of an empty cup. And this is something which I always tell myself as well. So I would say, if you create a ritual, which is, if you have an idea, don't leave it on the table, create a ritual. That means you fix a time, you put a place, you put a plan. Then you schedule it so that you act on it. Because finally, unless and until you act on it, it is not going to deliver results, and it's not going to make any change. So I give this very common example of same inputs, same output. So unless you make a change in your input, maybe the output that you're looking for, which must be transforming you, has to be differently designed. Yeah. So don't wait. Don't wait for any Monday, the first day of the week, the first day of the year. Start now. Even if it is a small ritual, get to it, begin, and make a start.
That's a great kind of message. Of course, whatever you wanted to do good, do it right now. That's a great thing. So people who are watching this interview right now, please go click on the subscribe button. Please go click on the bell icon so that you can receive notifications whenever I do post new videos regarding women entrepreneurs and working women across different cities in India and also across different countries in the world. So thank you once again for giving me an opportunity to host this interview. So that was a great interview. We had a lot of talkings with you regarding yoga and other practices that you have. So today is your host is Krishna hosting this Women Today YouTube channel. Today's our guest is from Pune. Her name is Samidha Kolhatkar from Pune. So thank you once again, ma'am. Good evening. Have a nice day.
Thank you.